Hello, this is Lorie Dancy. I am the Senior Vice President of Wellness with Solvere Living, and I have the privilege of having with us today Colleen Koziara. Colleen is the CEO of Beyond Bingo Incorporated. She is the author of Taking Flight, which is a whole life wellness handbook. She is also a senior wellness consultant and programming specialist, a nationally certified dementia care practitioner trainer, as well as a certified dementia care practitioner. Um, with all of that being said, Colleen, you are also a certified chair yoga instructor. So many wonderful things about you, and I am so excited that you've been able to join and take this time with me today just to talk about so many of the things that you've been involved in and that you do in your areas of expertise and experience. So with such an extensive background, tell me a little bit more, I guess, about what led you to writing your book, Taking Flight.
One of the things that I've noticed a lot in working with seniors is that while they have the best of intentions, especially seniors who live at home by themselves, they're not real sure where to go, what to do, how to keep themselves healthy. Everybody's interested in being more healthy, but there's a lot of other aspects to a person that need to be supported and fed in order for us to be truly healthy as a whole person. And a lot of times, the information you get out there is really mixed, and there's so much of it. It can be completely overwhelming. And so, one of the things that I thought about was not only those seniors who wanted to keep themselves healthy, but there's a lot of us who have parents living at home, maybe in their own home away from us. There might be 4 or 5 siblings who are taking care of mom. Mom or dad might be in an assisted living community. So one of the things that I thought of is if you put some really basic exercises or experiences together, time limited them. So one of the things that I did is in the book, they're actually marked out. It'll take 15 minutes, 30, 45, 60, or a whole day. So that this way, there is an idea of how long this thing will take. And then it's divided based on the dimensions of wellness. So everybody can help to be well on all of the dimensions. And they can do so without a lot of money being spent. I put this book together understanding that people were probably going to have to use what they had in their own home. They weren't going to be able to go out and get a fancy gym membership or anything of that nature. It's actually served us pretty well during the last couple of months as everything in our new normal has changed and we've been at home. But that was the motivating factor. It's just so hard to find easy, accessible information without getting completely overwhelmed and losing 4 hours on the internet.
That's great. Such a wonderful tool and very easy to use. I have to say that I've seen it. I know at some of our communities, you've helped us and worked with us in developing and showing and teaching the directors of these programs how to do just that and what a difference and an impact it truly has made. I do know that it's such a great resource.
Well, and some of the things are so easy. And when you look at the way the book is set up, I made sure that it was set up like a workbook. So there's some pages with lots of empty space. So let's say you and I were both going to check on our dad who lived alone. You could make a note and put a little sticky in there. Dad loves this one. We did it Tuesday. Now I'm the other sibling. I come in a couple of days later and I see that. I can make sure I'm doing it. Or maybe you tried one and you're like, he hated this. Don't do this one. So it's also a way for family members to be able to communicate, or the senior themselves can actually make a note. And some of the things in there are really simple. A couple of party cups and a clementine. So you do this, and you pour the clementine from one to the other. Well, this is large and fine motor skill. It's cross body. You're having to pay attention. It's physical. It's intellectual. Now do it with another person. It becomes social. It is absolutely emotional because as soon as that clementine hits the floor and you have to go running to get it, everybody's laughing. And so all of those things together with something that simple that people have in their house that they didn't need to buy extra equipment for actually engages people on another level. And they begin to open up to the possibility that it doesn't have to be as challenging as we make it sometimes.
That's great. That's great. The everyday things even matter.
Exactly.
Colleen, why do you feel that each component or dimension of wellness is necessary or beneficial to older adults?
When we look at how we spend our life, and our recent couple of months has been a very, very good educational learning process. Without a social aspect, all of us have learned about depression. How do you engage your mind if you're not used to using a computer and all of a sudden you can't see other people? So I think all of us have gotten an outstanding lesson on just exactly what challenges seniors often face every day. So if you look, there's 7 dimensions of wellness, and one of my wonderful coworkers at one point in time was great at making up those little acronyms, and so she made it up to say CVIPs. So it's social, emotional, environmental, vocational, intellectual, physical, and spiritual. And all of those things make up a healthy person. So anytime we've all known the person who exercises like crazy but needs help with their emotional stuff, or somebody who reads all the time but never gets up off the couch. This is not a person who's wholly cared for and healthy in their whole body. But when you put all those pieces together, and it's as easy as an example that we used a lot in the communities, and I know I've used it with you as we've worked with your staff. You can take a treadmill and put it in a room all by itself. And if somebody goes in and walks on it, absolutely. It's a physical experience. And they're helping themselves physically. If you put 2 treadmills next to each other, now it can be physical and social. Now face them towards a window with some bird feeders out in front, and you've added environmental. If there's music playing along the side and you're going ahead and you're engaging with a short meditation beforehand to focus, then you're adding spiritual. Anytime it's social, it's always emotional. Intellectual, begin tracking how far you walk, how many pounds you lost, what's your heart rate during all of this. And vocational, maybe you're all walking together so that you can raise money for a cause, prepare for a march, prepare to go on a vacation. Vocational is anything that feeds you so that it can support what is your calling in life. Now you've taken one room that used to have just one treadmill in it, and all of a sudden you're serving all 7 dimensions. And it's that easy. But
Wow.
somebody has to show you how. And so that's why the book kind of puts all the pieces together, and it explains in it as well. When you're doing this thing, this is social, this is emotional, this is intellectual. So it begins to make your brain work in that fashion.
Hmm. Hmm. Wow, that's so helpful, because so many times we think it has to be the big, huge programs, events, and these things for all of those things to maybe come
Exactly.
together, or we focus on one of many. And it can be incorporated in so many different ways.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's difficult when a lot of programs separate them. Here's the intellectual activity. No, you could make that a 2-hour process and a program that might have that, but it can have all other 6.
Hmm.
You can easily put them all together. And one of the things about life in general is the biodiversity. So the diversity of everything coming together, by the time you make the stew, it's fabulous. So you add in the social and the emotional and everything else, even to just that intellectual endeavor, it becomes a lot more fun.
Hmm. So, how would you recommend older adults who struggle to incorporate any or even all of the components of wellness?
Well, obviously, writing the book was my first suggestion because it puts it together and it explains the dimensions and understanding what those are and knowing what aspect of your life you need support in or where you need maybe to expand things. One of the best ways, one of the programs that I've been doing with a lot of people during the course of our quarantine time is beginning a practice of daily gratitude. This might be as simple as every morning when you wake up and every evening before you go to bed, you list the 3 things you're grateful for. And if it's a bad day, it may very well be the first one, well, I woke up. And at the end of the day, I made it through the day. But what happens is by taking an opportunity to create a sense of gratitude within yourself, you begin to change the manner in which your brain functions, and you begin to see more possibilities ahead of you and become more grateful, even if you're at home and you're alone for a time. So once you see that you're grateful for a few things, it oftentimes begins to snowball in one of those really neat ways. It's about learning about what you need and then beginning to take care of yourself as a whole person with whatever resources you have. No extra money required. You can always do these things with what you have.
Beautiful. So I didn't mention this before. You are also a very highly skilled artist, an art instructor, and a muralist, which I have had the privilege of witnessing and being a part of firsthand. And
Lori's quite the painter. She's not letting you know. She's been a part of a couple of murals now with me. She's very good at it.
much guidance from you.
It's okay. You did good.
But it was so impactful. I did not want to not talk about that. Maybe you can talk a little bit about the benefits in art, doing these types of programs with older adults.
Absolutely. And the benefits are almost limitless. It's amazing. So one of Beyond Bingo's trademark programs is Murals to Remember. And this is one of the things that I've worked with Lorie and Silvera on in a number of their communities. And the murals, when the community chooses an image that they would like to put, they pick the area, they pick the image, we all choose it together as a group. And then basically what I do is turn it into a coloring book drawing on the wall. And the staff, the family, the residents, the vice presidents all come along, community members, and we paint it together. And most of these are done in memory care communities with those who have Alzheimer's or related dementia, but a lot of them are also done in assisted living communities and some independent communities as well. And so that's not the only art that I do with people. I actually teach art classes and creativity classes with every care level of seniors all the way through hospice. And the opportunity to create, the opportunity to, on your own, make something of beauty, I don't think there's a way to even count the benefits of what that gives to somebody. You've seen it. People that we pull out, they're in their wheelchairs. There's obviously short places to paint where you can sit on the floor. There's chair level, there's standing walker level, there's standing up tall level. Everybody gets a little area. They know what colors they need to add to be part of a whole. So not only are they creating, it's fine and gross motor skill, it's intellectual, it's vocational, it's social. But here's the thing, they're putting a part of their efforts in to creating this beautiful thing together as part of a community. And then, and you saw it, we were at one of your communities and we were in the process of painting the boardwalk. And there's all these stores on the boardwalk that have been there forever and ever and ever in Ocean City. And each one looks a certain way. They have a certain color and a certain sign on them. And we got to the point where the words weren't even on yet. We had just painted the gray building with the oval gray sign. And one of the gentlemen in that memory care walked out, pointed right at the wall and said, "That place has got the best French fries I've ever eaten in my life." And he and his caregiver had a 20-minute conversation about him going there as a kid, what they had done, how much he loved it, how his family used to go on trips. And the caregiver, all they had to do was say, "Tell me about that." And all the memories came back. It was just extraordinary. And that is what happens from a small painting that we all do in a class together. We do a kind of painting called kaleidoscope, where I take a big picture and we separate it into 16 canvases and each person paints their version, and then we put it all together. We've done murals for buses, and then they get done on a banner, and then we Photoshop them up so they can be a bus wrap, and then the ones like we've done with you on the walls. And the seniors who have been a part of these things literally remember them for years. And those that have memory issues use these as a reminiscence point of focus that works over and over and over again. It's just amazing to see how awake and happy and just engaged people are after they've had the chance to be creative.
It,
It's
it
so
truly
wonderful.
is. It truly is an experience and an ongoing experience because then it stays there with them. And it really truly is.
Well,
Yes.
and you've seen the staff is the
Yes.
same way. They're so proud of their
Yes.
flower. You
Yes.
know, they painted that little flower right there, and they will come around and show you their flower.
Mhm.
And everybody shares, "Oh, you see that? I painted the side of that." And
Mhm.
it's just fabulous. And they do
It
such a beautiful job.
it really is. It really is. Well, thank you for sharing that. I know you have some projects that you've been working on. I just wanted you to take a minute or two to just share what some of those things are.
Well, Beyond Bingo is working to make some more of these programmings and these art programs a little more accessible to folks as we continue into a situation where a lot of the visitors and incoming folks to communities are still going to be kept at a minimum. And we're going to be trying to do programming with individuals in smaller groups at a lot of big senior communities. That's very challenging for staff, which means that they're limited with a lot of the time they can spend doing things like researching and coming up with programs. So Beyond Bingo is actually going to have a subscription service coming out in just a couple of weeks where communities will be able to subscribe. And what is literally put together for them is a program that features two main topics that are somehow holiday or seasonally related, that are intellectually stimulating, that cover all 7 dimensions. They're going to include printouts, images, video, recordings, book lists, program and playlists, projects, and we'll also include a couple of live painting sessions, and communities will be able to subscribe to this and then download those materials so that their staff can spend their time in person, on hand, hands on hand, instead of sitting in front of the computer trying to come up with all of the themes and everything, because there's a lot of computer work involved in being a good programming person and doing engaging programming. You really have to research it. So this would provide that for the staff.
Yeah.
Additionally, motivated by our current situation and the need of children to have some support in school and the need of our seniors, Beyond Bingo will be helping to facilitate a nationwide collection of retired teachers who are going to be volunteering as tutors.
Wow.
There's nothing like a retired teacher. They are still ready to teach. And there are tons of students who need this. Students and the seniors will not be required to have Zoom. Phone calls work great if you have a question on English. They work fabulous if you want to hear about history, not only from someone who maybe taught it for 40 years, but maybe someone who was actually in that incident you're learning about, who can give you firsthand information about all of these areas. So it's kind of taken the concept of the human library and expanding it into an entire living library of educators who are ready to be there and help our kids make it through these challenges in their schooling as well.
Wow, that is so exciting. I
I
love that
know.
idea.
I can't wait. And
Yeah.
oh, are they getting excited about it? They're currently in the process of trying to decide what they're going to be called. So I
Okay.
can't give you a name yet because there's
Okay.
the board of directors has their debate going on. So, and there's a bunch of teachers involved in this, so they're
Yes.
working on it. They're getting there though. It's going to be really fabulous.
Wow. Wow. Well, we will make sure and follow up.
Absolutely.
Great. Great. So, Colleen, thank you so much for taking time out of what I know is a lot that you're doing and involved in, and just sitting and talking with me today, so we can learn from all the things that you know and you offer to so many of the older adults. I know throughout the country, definitely in the Solvere communities, you've impacted so many. So just thank you. I appreciate you, and we look forward to catching up with you soon. Take
Thank you so much for having me. It is always a pleasure to work with you and Silver Lori. It's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Colleen.